The I Want to Be a Vet weekend was an initiative started by our students. The OPVSC, which is our house committee on campus, realized the need to expose students from underprivileged areas to our profession.
So what we try and do is reach out to students from all over South Africa.
From rural communities. And the intention of that is to get students that will go back to their community where they came from to have an impact where mostly at the moment we don't have veterinary services.
Where I grew up is an area where people are not aware, they lack knowledge about how to take real care of these animals.
The people at Kanana, they don't believe that you should take your pet to the doctor.
If you ask everybody, especially where I come from, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be a policeman. I want to do teaching, like stop thinking inside the box and just explore.
I want to be the first one coming out of Kanana, becoming the first vet, opening a clinic.
They spend a weekend with us.
They do quite a lot of practical activities, so they get exposed to different species of animals.
I got in there and I actually touched the teeth, I actually felt the tongue. It's actually weird, but then it was amazing.
Body conditioning the cattle, finding out their age, finding out their grading, that has been very interesting for me.
Ik heb die beagles baie geniet want ek hou baie van honde, so dit was my baie interessant en hulle hoe hulle goedjies leer en dit kan doen en mense se opdragte uitvoer.
To be really honest, I didn't really expect it to be this amazing.
I can't tell you how satisfying it is to just hear that people want to be in this profession to make a difference. They see a need for it in their communities, or they want to make a change somewhere, they want to create waves somewhere. It means so much to see that.
It's an exciting weekend for prospective students to kind of feel their dream of being a veterinary student. Good morning, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the video that we've just seen now of our previous Wanna Be a Vet weekends. That was a live function on campus. Unfortunately, this year it's not possible to do that. But we are hoping that the experience of the online version is just as great for you. And thanks again to Leonie Botha for hosting such a wonderful event. Thank you very much, Leonie.
Thank you, Prof.
Did you enjoy all the posts that we've received so far and the questions?
I really did, and I acknowledge every one of you for all of your welcoming yesterday. I really did appreciate it, and also all of the pictures that were posted and submitted. We will get back to the questions that we missed yesterday, and we will answer them today.
And I'm looking forward to answering all those questions. We've received many questions already, good ones, and we will go through them and answer all of them on your selection questions especially. That session will start a little bit later this afternoon at 1 o'clock. To carry on now, we are going to see a welcoming message from the Dean, Professor Vinnie Naidu. I hope you enjoy that and enjoy the rest of the morning.
Welcome to the University of Pretoria. Thank you for choosing UP and welcome to a career in veterinary science or veterinary nursing. The Faculty of Veterinary Science is the only faculty of its kind in South Africa, the best faculty of veterinary science in Africa, and a global top 50 veterinary school. Our veterinary programs are internationally recognized and will give you access to skills that will allow you to excel in your chosen field. If you join our veterinary program, after completion of your degree, you'll be able to practice in a field of your choice, from production to wildlife medicine. Our veterinary nurses are also able to select their field of practice, from providing nursing care at welfare organizations to working at state-of-the-art veterinary hospitals. With us, you'll become the best you can be through training within our excellent facilities, including a clinic at the open gate of the Kruger National Park, as well as through the superior caseloads our veterinary academic hospital manages annually. A unique feature of our program is that in your final year as a veterinary or nursing student, you'll be responsible for the primary care patients under the supervision of our specialist veterinary staff. While studying with us, you'll also learn about the agricultural and commercial role that animals play in society, the importance of their care and compassion towards them. Your teaching will be grounded in the principles of One Health, which teaches you the importance of both healthy animals and healthy environments in helping people stay healthy. The COVID-19 outbreak is an excellent example of what can happen when this balance is interrupted. Our faculty is self-contained on the Honestwood or OP campus, which has access to state-of-the-art laboratories, an amazing skill lab, and excellent animal management facilities. You will gain the necessary experience to work with a variety of different animal species. Our nursing students will spend their entire time at OP, while our veterinary students will spend their first year at the Hatfield campus and the next 5 years at OP. As a UP student, you'll also be part of the UP way of life. This means you will receive a high quality of teaching and learning support that will ensure that you'll graduate on time and you are able to apply your knowledge and skills so you are ready to start your own business or land your first job. The UP way of doing things means that you'll be an innovative and critical thinker who has a positive impact on the world and lives with compassion, respect, and care for humans and animals. In our faculty, we are compassionate and we care for society by caring for animals and ensuring the sustainability of food production in poultry, sheep, or cattle farms. I hope you'll consider joining our profession, as there's none better. It's not everyone who can wake up in the morning and choose to work outdoors, and perhaps walk a rhino, or even drink a cup of coffee with milk from a certified healthy herd of cows. So choose UP, and we hope to see you next year.
We hope you enjoyed the video on the Dean's message. I'm here with Logeshni, aka Logs. She's our treasure on OPVSC.
Hi everyone, don't forget to share your pictures and tweet us using the hashtag WannaBeAVet. So that's hashtag WANNABEAVET.
So up next we have the video on junior tukkies. We do encourage you to become part of them and then also be part of the family.
The University of Pretoria has implemented the Junior Tukkie program in order to assist high school learners in making responsible study and career choices. And as a student, you'll be equipped with the necessary skills to succeed at university. Learners from grade 9 to grade 12 are welcome to join the Junior Tukkie program, which prepares you for a successful transition from high school to higher education. Junior Tukkie develops important skills in order to better equip learners for the challenges they may face as a student, in their personal capacity as well as professionally. Junior Tukkie provides a wide variety of services, such as first-hand information on study and career options. It also includes the development of leadership qualities, study skills, as well as engagement in community projects. The benefits of being a member of Junior Tukkie include invitations to Junior Tukkie events like the Grade 11 Empowerment Week and the Grade 12 Preparation Conference, guidance with Grade 10 subject choices in your career field, helping you with the admission and selection requirements for your chosen program, assisting you in completing your application to study at UP, providing you with many opportunities to develop leadership skills, to expand your communication, organization, computer skills and time management skills, and development of social responsibility, and a variety of enrichment programs that can help you with improving your marks in various subjects. Once you're a first-year UP student, you may join the JT Student Ambassador Society. As a member of the JTSAS, we will equip you with the skills and emotional intelligence to succeed at university, prepare you for a wonderful and balanced student life, help you face any challenges you may experience as a student, such as study methods, develop your leadership skills, and help you thrive at university and enable you to graduate on time. Junior Tukkie will not only help you at university, but also after you graduate and enter the workforce. Third-year UP students, graduates, and postgraduate students are welcome to join the JT alumni, where you will be provided the opportunity to invest in the lives of future JT generations. Contribute your expertise, time, and if you wish, a once-off or monthly donation towards the JT Sustainability Fund. Participate in social development programs, attain personal and professional capabilities that will distinguish you professionally, and establish rewarding friendships with your peers, which will enrich your life. So, how do you become a Junior Tukkie? Download the Junior Tukkie app by visiting juniortukkieapp.co.za on your web browser. Remember to select the Allow Notifications option. Select the option Add to your home screen and keep an eye on the JT app for notifications. Click on Sign Up and follow the instructions. Make sure to complete the JT registration form by opening the Junior Tukkie tile on the JT app. then selecting the Become a Junior Techie option. To find further information, contact us at one of the following Junior Techie emails.
Talking.
No. I have no idea what to say. I'll just bounce off what you say.
Okay, I hope you enjoyed the Junior Techie video. We have the OPVSC meet next up, but to encourage you to be more active also in the chat, ask us questions. Like if you see a video and you note something, ask us, and then we will answer it in the end of the first session before we have a comfort break. Our OPVSC team is very fun. Like you could see in the videos, all of the people that did the videos were OPVSC members. And the sheep catching was the most fun part of the day because some of us haven't catched a sheep like in 2 years. So it was very fun, except her video was only the short clip where she already sat the video and not where she actually caught it.
But I did catch it, I promise.
So up next we have Meet the OPVSC Com. So please take note of any questions you would like to ask us.
Hi, my name is Humaira and I'm in my 4th year of veterinary science. I like to read books and watch plays, and most of all I enjoy playing games like Uno and 30 seconds, whatever it is, I'm probably up for it. And a fun fact about me is that I'm a triplet.
Hi, I'm Nishan Pillay, a 4th year veterinary science student at the University of Pretoria. I'm from Pietermaritzburg, a small town in KwaZulu-Natal. My interests include fishing, all types of fishing, but especially deep-sea fishing. A fun fact about myself is that I'm a black belt in karate. I'm excited about the PAUSE program, and I hope you are too.
My name is Melissa Rulon. I am a 4th year vet student at Onderstepoort, and I am originally from Durban. I enjoy being outdoors and being around animals. I have lots of pets, from dogs and cats and snakes and leopard geckos, tarantulas, horses, you name it, I've got it or had it. So I really enjoy being around animals. I've been hunting with my dad a few times, and I did KZN show jumping at one stage in my life. I've been riding for about 19 years now. Some interesting facts include that my family is quite culturally diverse, ranging from Congolese and in the Seychelles all the way to Germany.
Hi, my name is Lageshni Pillay and I'm currently a 4th year vet student. I come from a little town on the border of KZN and the Eastern Cape called Kokstad, and some of my interests include the outdoors, wildlife, animals, and a fun fact about me is that one of my favorite things to do and that I really enjoy is gaming.
Hi everyone, my name is Liana Hubert. I am the academic rep for the OPVSC. Despite where I am currently, I am actually from Pretoria, born and raised. I am currently a 4th year vet student, and my interests are scuba diving, horses, just generally the ocean, and wine, art history, and talking about art history while drinking wine. A fun fact about me is that I once walked all the way to the top of the Notre Dame with a sprained ankle. Bye guys!
My name is Tulan Saizi. I'm from the Eastern Highlands side of Zimbabwe. I'm currently doing my 3rd year BVSC and I'm interested in doing equine medicine. One fun fact about myself is I started reading roughly at the age of 3. Yeah, flipping pages, staring at pictures for hours. I can't recall much apart from having some few mental pictures. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Narissa Naika. I'm currently a final year veterinary science student, and my interests are mixed practice. I really like large animals, like cows and horses, and that's the fun fact about me. I really like cows. I'm really looking forward to being part of this PAUSE program and getting to meet you all.
Hi, my name is Kayla Chetty and I'm in my 3rd year of my veterinary science degree. I am from Durban, KwaZulu-Natal, and my interests include playing the piano, singing, watching anime, eating, and sleeping. A fun fact about me is once I bleached my hair to the point where it all melted off my head and I had to shave my head. And the day after, when I went into school, all the teachers thought I was the new kid, Brian. So, yeah.
Hi, my name is Nadine Stieler and I'm a third-year veterinary science student. I'm originally from the East Rand of Gauteng, but I moved to Pretoria permanently 2 years ago. Something a little bit interesting about me is I am absolutely obsessed with horses. I can be classified as one of those crazy horse people, I admit it. I absolutely love music. I'm passionate about singing. And a little fun fact about me is I used to be a total drama geek in high school.
Hello, I am Pretty Nancy Morrison, currently studying veterinary science, and I am from Eastern Cape in Umtata. My interests include public speaking, motivational speaking, and writing. And one fun fact about me should be I finished high school at the age of 16.
Hello, I'm Leonie Botha. I'm a 4th year vet student and I come from Kimberley. I love to swim, camping, fishing, trail rides, hiking trails. I'm also an adventurous person. Basically anything to do with adrenaline I'm keen to do. Spending time with family and friends is a top priority for me, and I love to read books and listen to music. A fun fact is that you know that a blue whale's tongue is as heavy as an elephant.
Hey everyone, my name is Dipali Narotham. I'm from Durban and I'm in my 5th year BVSC. I have an interest in science and small animal surgery, and a fun fact about me is that I like to build really big puzzles.
Okay, so we hope you enjoyed that video about meeting our committee. So the OPVSC stands for the Honest to Poet Para-Veterinary and Veterinary Student Committee. So basically what we are is we're the student committee that is the liaison between the student body and the faculty, and we listen to what the students want and we bring it to the faculty, and we also sometimes organize some events and stuff like that. And we're there for the students and we represent them.
Okay, so we would also like to thank you for everyone that actually submitted and hashtagged the photos. So Sandy, we really love your photo of the bow tie. And then I also have an email with the Nai van Niekerk's photo. It was absolutely amazing to see these photos. And we encourage you to please tweet more photos or send it to us, because we do want to remind you about the vouchers at the end of today. It's 5 200 vouchers. And then we will also have extra prizes like merchandise and etc. that will be announced in 2 weeks' time. So the next up we will have the OP Village, and Lox, who is in the residence, will be talking more about it before we show the video.
So yeah, I stay at OP Village. It's our residence. It's here on campus. It's really nice. So some of the best parts about staying at Res is that you're literally 5 minutes away from campus. So if I'm ever feeling down or something, I can just walk to campus, see some of the horses, some of the dogs, and it's just a really nice place to be at. We also have some great facilities. There's a swimming pool, tennis courts, sports grounds, and there's even a gym, so I can get my muscles. But yeah, other than that, it's also really conducive to studies because you're surrounded by everyone who's doing the same thing as you, and you get to learn with your friends, do a lot of group work and stuff like that, and it's just really great to be at OP Village. Yeah.
So, up next, we have the OP Village video.
I'm here at OP Village, and with me I have Shira, and she's here to tell us a bit more about OP. So, Shira, what can you tell me sets you guys apart from the other residents?
Well, aside from us being the biggest Tux residence, all our students that live here are either studying veterinary science or veterinary nursing. So that means that out of all the 800 students, we are studying the same thing.
Well, let's go have a look what they have to offer. I'm in one of Opie Village's many apartments, and with me I've got Andy, and she's here to tell us a little bit more about all the facilities they have here.
So apart from our IT labs and laundry rooms, we also have a clubhouse and outdoor gym, as well as a pool and various sports fields which we can practice on.
So between all the hard work, there's something for you to go have fun.
Okay, so you just saw our OP Village video, and as you can see, we can actually ride a bicycle, I almost said bike, a bicycle on campus. You can ride a bike, but we won't advise it. So I want to ask Lox something, but it was supposed to be in a Q&A, but I want you to say, how many plants do you have and raise?
How many?
Plants.
Plants. I actually have like 8 plants. They're my little babies on my windowsill. In fact, a lot of people at Reyes have plants. Like, it's quite a green place, you know, so it's quite lovely. It spices up the place. But yeah.
Okay, so you've seen our race video, and it's something like, can you actually have animals in race?
Okay, so having your own pets at Reyes isn't actually allowed, because it's a violation of biosecurity, because we also have the animals on campus, obviously. But you can foster kittens, which you will learn about from the CIG, which is one of the clubs and societies. So they have kittens. In fact, I have a little kid in my room right now. He's so cute. But yeah, so you can have kittens from CIG, but other than that, there are no pets allowed. But yeah.
Why didn't you bring your cat?
I'm so sorry. Didn't mean to. Next time.
Okay, so can you have any socials, not now during COVID, but can you ever have any socials on Harry's?
Yeah, definitely. So like obviously before the pandemic and stuff, socials were quite a big thing. Well, not a big thing, but it's a good balance at OP Village. So we do have socials every odd Friday. We have a clubhouse, so that's like by the pool, and we have a braai area, so there are sometimes socials that happen. And then we also have some external socials where we would go out for like Hawaiian or Kinky Pinky or those kind of events. And then there's also the formal events like the Res Denia and stuff like that. So there are quite a lot of social opportunities.
So as you can see, at OP we do study hard. Like our curriculum is very tough, but we have so many opportunities to get together with your friends. You have a support group. Like we have the biggest support group with friends, and on OP campus, you make friends that will last for life. It's like a family. Like you will see in the video, and after the comfort break, we have a video on clubs and societies, and you'll see that we have so many opportunities for students to come together in their interests. Like me and Logs, we are on the Run for Rhinos group, and it's amazing. Like we raise funds for so many different charities, and we have RAG. Also, we also did RAG this year, and we started doing UP RAG with OP RAG, so we have OP RAG as well. And then our charity for this year is Pangolins. And then we also help with UP RAG, with other residents from Head Campus. So what happens with OP, like Onderste Poort, is that we have our very first year on Head Campus. So then you have maths, physics, chemistry, but you'll see it in our curriculum videos and also in the brochure. Then on your second year, you come to OP, and then you start your practical. Second year, you will learn how to set a sheep, cattle herding, basically everything in the videos, the behavior of animals. And then we start with more diagnostic, fun stuff like listening to your heartbeat. It's very interesting to get it the first time. You do struggle. And when you finally hear the sounds, it's amazing to hear, because then you know you actually accomplished something. You're getting there, you're becoming a vet. So yeah, anything you would like to say of our wonderful campus?
I'd just like to say it's a great community as well. It's quite amazing how like everyone's here for one passion, which is our love for animals, and everyone just comes from different backgrounds, and you just meet new people and new friends, and it's a great community as well to be in. So yeah.
A question for Lars.
Another one.
What would you want to do after your studies?
After I study, so when I was little, I always wanted to be a game ranger, drive people around the game park. So I was always interested in wildlife. And then I thought I'd put my education to use and become a wildlife vet. So hopefully one day I'll be in that field of wildlife vet. But yeah.
That's the fun part of Onderste Poort, is that you actually get to deal with so many kinds of species, animals. It's very fun. It's not just one thing. Like we had a question yesterday about reptiles on Onderste Poort. We actually get to deal with reptiles, but in our exotic clinic. It's in our final of 5th year and final year, but Prof will explain more about the practical part of our studies and the 1 p.m. slot for a session. So next up, we have a wonderful video about the
Sluvukani Wildlife Clinic. Well, not wildlife, but Sluvukani Clinic.
So it's a satellite facility we have that's part of the OP hospital. That's when the final years goes for 2 weeks to it, and then they get practical experience there as well. So enjoy the video.
And he knows it's gone. Don't wait for another. Falling he goes, and he cries all night. And slowly he thinks, can't wait for another. Tearing his soul, he screams inside, he says I'm only, while I've gone away only, every single day lonely. Well, I can't be so strong, why don't you let me go? I've been in weakness and I'm hungry, that's why I've gone away only, every single day lonely. Well, I can't run away, why don't you let me go? Say I know I'm on the way to find my home. Hey, I know I'm on the way to find my home. Far away. Well, I will wait for. Why don't you stick around, wind your windows down, 'cause it's a hard place in a hard town. Sometimes I pretend that I can hear his words at all, but they echo in my sleep, and it doesn't help me keep from feeling like I could change something for him. And I cried, I said I'm one man here today, I'm only, it might never go your way, and only time will have its way, why don't you let me go? He said I'm tired and I'm hungry, every single day I'm lonely, my world is cruel today, and only if I could run away, why don't you let me go? Say I know I'm on the way to find my home. Hey, I know well, I will wait for.
I think the clinic is important because most of the people here previously, they have to walk or travel far away from their areas to go, like Hookspray, to go to medicine like that. But for now, they just walk and come here, so help them, and they just brought the animals to the clinic, so the students and the vet doctors, they can help them with that. I think the clinic is helping a lot around the community because most of the farmers, they were not aware of many diseases, but now as the vet students are here, they're helping them to talk to them about the different diseases, what they should do, what they should not do, stuff like that. So I think that's all I have to say.
enjoy about my work because I'm working with the animals and different, like I'm environmental monitor, helping the doctors to treat the animals and also showing the direction and also helping in interpretation and also in the deep tank. So I like to work with the animals and helping the community like the way we are doing here at MSC.
Yeah, Shubukan Clinic is quite important to me because we receive a different kind of student, and it's valuable for the farmers, and it's reliable when it comes to in terms of getting a vaccination, and it's very cheap for them, unlike in olden days because they used to go and travel a lot to go some vaccinations. So we are here to serve the community and we help them a lot.
So I think Shuvukani Animal Clinic is a unique opportunity for student learning. First and foremost, the clinic is in a controlled disease area. And normally most vets only read about these diseases. They don't get to meet them, like foot and mouth, rabies, and the list is endless. And Shuvukani provides that opportunity for students to be more aware of these diseases and look at the challenges of working in such areas. Secondly, I think there are a lot of unique opportunities to actually do stuff as students because the student numbers are limited, and also the students are able to then work, with the clinician and get direct instruction. And I think that is important to expose students and be more practical. Then thirdly, as a clinician, you are also kept on your toes because you don't have necessarily a whole host of diagnostic equipment and machinery. So you actually have to apply your mind more to cases. And I think that is also beneficial to assist students to work in such setups. Thirdly, as the community service program is kicking off, I think it's quite important for students to get a feel of how things work out in the communities, working with the communities, learning new languages, being able to interact with different cultures. I think that is also quite important for student training. So in a nutshell, I think this provides quite a unique opportunity, and it's a very invaluable resource to the university for student training.
He's got it. Oh, he's got a needle. Wait, what? Hold on. Hold on.
While we wait for
we hope you guys enjoyed the Shuvukani Clinic video. It's really a great experience for when you do get to final year. So now we're going to do some Q&A with you guys. So do send through any more questions that you have into the comments. And also don't forget to tweet us and use the hashtag wannabeavet. But yeah, so we'll start with some questions now.
Okay, so one of the questions we got is, what's the favorite part of being a vet student? So Lars can go first in this question.
My favorite part about being a vet student is the animals. That's the thing that drives me the most because it's a lot of hard work and a lot of studying, especially the whole student part. So yeah, it's the animals that drives me, and that's my favorite part. What about you?
It is the animals. It's what you can do for them. It's amazing when you have a sick animal and you can nurse it back to health. It's wonderful the techniques that you actually learn at OP. It's wonderful when you can actually start practicing on live animals. So the best part also with OP, being on OP, is the amazing skills lab we have. You don't have to be nervous about hurting a live animal because all of these are, as you know, like fake, but are also made for students, so you can practice a lot. and you can make mistakes and you can learn from mistakes. And then when you're ready, they take you to the live animals, and we have live animal pracs. A simple example is IV. When you withdraw bloods, it's very nice to learn it on a fake animal and then practice it on a live animal. Do you love our OP Skills Lab?
Oh, I love it. Like, it's just so nice to know that you're like secure and that you're not gonna like hurt an animal. So you'd rather practice it, you know, with fake animals, and then know that you're doing the techniques right. And then when you go to the real animal, you feel so much more confident with everything, you know. So yeah, I do really like our skills labs. But yeah, okay, so I also see there's a few questions about getting into vet and whether, like, if you don't have the adequate marks or something like that. So I can speak from personal experience. I got into vet, but then I didn't get the requirements. So then I had to do the extended BSc program. So, and then I had to keep applying, and then I eventually got into vet the next year. So any advice I would give to you is, if you really are passionate and you want to do it, just persevere, try get the best marks that you can, and keep applying. And if it's what you really want to do, you will eventually get there. So yeah.
So some of the comments are very interesting. Melinda, I also have a lot of animals. We have 9 cats. And then if you count all the dogs, 5 dogs. But the cats, they have a different personality, like each and every one of them. And if you're not a cat person, if you ever like have a cat, you will be a cat person. Like, they will grow on you. And then I also see, like, Melinda, you will be doing the sheep catching technique this afternoon. Please take photos and a video. We would love to see it. It's super fun the first time you do it, because I'm not going to like jinx you, but it's fun to fail, and then you have to learn from it. But the more you practice, the better you will get about it. Like, really, you will get better. Like, the first time I caught a sheep, I actually fell, and it was very funny. And then I just stood back up, and we tried again. The one thing about OP is the doctors and profs that teach us are absolutely amazing, and they do understand. They're super patient with you. They will do a technique again and show you, and then advise you how you can improve on that technique. So it's very fun. The value-added form. What a value-added form is, it's basically where you write all of your previous experience from, and then they take that into account when doing that mission selection. So you can put in, if you worked with pigs, sheep, cattle, game, whatever you did, but a vet has to sign it. Sorry, it's been a few years since I actually handed in my value-added form. Can you say anything about a value-added form?
Well, from what I remember when I did mines is that, like, well, wherever you do your experience, you do need proof that, like, you were there and that you were involved and that you were, like, shadowing. So I think you do need the vet to sign it. And if you've helped out at, like, an SPCA or an animal shelter, I think you would need, like, their stamp or just something to prove, you know, that you've been there and were shadowing them. But yeah. I also see that there's a question, what is the most challenging thing being a vet as a woman? So also part of the OPVSC, we also have like transformation as our portfolio, and we have lots of different campaigns like Blackout Tuesdays, and I think there was a Red Lips campaign.
I remember that. The guys actually took part in that as well.
Yeah, it was really nice, and it was like based on gender-based violence and that kind of stuff. But anyways, back to the question. I think like one of the challenging things is maybe going out like to clients, and sometimes they just feel like they prefer to talk to a male, but our society is slowly opening up, and it is getting much better. But yeah, sometimes it does feel like people would rather be interacting with a male vet. However, it is certainly improving. But yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Michelle, you asked, what personalities do you need to become a vet? That's very difficult to answer. In the sense of, there's so many different personalities we have on campus. It's interesting to see all of these people, because in school, you have your cliques, like your groups where you are, and then when you come to uni, you also find the people that are basically almost the same as you. Like we have friends that it's very interesting when you notice the similarities between you, and also very scary when you see like you really like the same. But personality-wise, you really do actually need sometimes like a strong personality, because you do get like owners or like people that you work for, and then you have to stand your ground. That's the one thing that you need to know, when to stand your ground. And then also, if I can give you advice, go to SPCAs and work with private vets, just to get the feeling of being in practice and working with owners. Because remember, you do work with animals, but you work with the owners as well. And you have to be, we have a subject in school, veterinary professional life, and they teach you communication, and it's very important. And we actually enjoy it as well, because you learn so many new techniques in it.
Yeah, you'd actually be surprised how much you aren't, well, for me personally, like when I interact with someone, not on a client basis, it's okay, but then when they're a client, all of a sudden you have to change the way you speak to them, what questions you ask them, and it's amazing how much you learn that you actually don't know about communicating with people. So it's also one of those modules that does really help you out. Yeah, and I see that there's a lot of you that are also interested in wildlife. Yay! I hope that you guys do get to eventually get into those fields one day. Someone did ask about specializing, so I think Prof will talk about it later, but when it comes to specializing, what kind of happens is up till 5th year, it's basically all theory, and then after that, when you do clinics, you do choose some sort of majors, which is where you do like an extra clinic rotation on that. So, for example, you could choose wildlife, and then I think you could do like an extra rotation, like your extra rotation would be on wildlife or smallies or production animals and stuff like that. But yeah.
Someone asked Carleen about residency. So we have, our studies are 6 years, like the vet science, and then you have the vet nurse that are 3 years. And then after the vet science, when you're done, you do a CCS year where you work basically for the government. And then they actually give you a year of experience. It's very nice because this helps you build your confidence, because you do learn a lot on OP. But to practice it is a different story as well. So, but Prof will answer all of the questions about the value added for how do you to get admission and what subjects you should take to help better your admission. He will do that at 1, and then you can also ask questions about that as well. Logs will talk about OP and UP-RAG.
Okay, so OP and UP-RAG, we did speak about it earlier, but some of you may not know what it actually stands for. So firstly, RAG stands for Reach Out and Give. So what that is at the university, there are different, like from main campus as well, there are different reses, and the different faculties have different committees, like RAG committees, that basically host events that raise money to donate to a charity. So at OP, we have OP-RAG. So at OP, we have the OP-RAG committee, and we do events specific to OP. So we'll have like a week called RAG Week, where we just host a whole bunch of like fun events that students will go to, raise some money, and then usually OP-RAG chooses a charity or a non-profit organization that's, that involves animals. So like Leonie said, this year is they're doing the pangolins. Last year it was a rhino non-profit. So yeah, it's just one of those things where a committee of people host events and stuff like that. And then, so that's OP-RAG, and then there's UP-RAG, which involves the rest of the university. So those usually are based more towards like doing charities that involve people, the environment, and like a more holistic charity. They do also involve animals, I hope. But yeah, and we also just do events, and there's the Rag of Hope Day. This year it was all online, so what we had to do was create crafts. So we made crafts, like we made bird bottle feeders and like a plant holder as our crafts, and then you would submit the video. However, in a non-pandemic scenario, you would have an actual Rag of Hope Day, and everyone would just get together and do some great fundraising and events and stuff like that. So that's RAG sort of summed up in a bit, but yeah.
I'm not sure. Megan asked, can we donate? Can you just like specify where and what you want to donate? That will also help to answer the question. And Savali, is it compulsory to attend events? No. you can choose which events you want to do, because sometimes your studies do get rough and then you don't want to do an event. Sometimes you just need an event and you need to get out. But this year, unfortunately, we didn't have many events, and also last year. But also most of the events are used to raise funds for charities and some of the clubs and societies to help them out with their outreaches.
Okay, so I see there's a question that says, what is the most difficult part about studying veterinary? So let's ask you, what do you find most difficult about this?
It's difficult to answer at the moment. COVID. It's very difficult with COVID, but it's fun, the online classes, because you can actually pause and go back and click on forward. So that's very fun. The most difficult part of my studies is that sometimes a subject do get difficult and then you struggle. But the thing that you need to remember, also when you come out of school and you go to university, it's not the end of the world if you do not pass like a subject. If you fail one semester test or test, it's not the end of the world. There are many, usually there are 2 or 3 semester tests where you do for one subject, and then you have an exam. And then if you fail the exam, you can do a supplementary exam, and then it's your last chance. So don't be too hard on yourself when you go to university. It's not like school. It's way different. In a sense, it's more, the load is a bit more as well. Not a bit, it's way more. But it's very interesting what you learn, so it makes it fun to learn. But yeah, that's my part of it.
Yeah, I think for me the most difficult part is, besides obviously the workload, it does take a lot of getting used to from like high school to university. The workload increases a lot. But then in specific to like OP campus, I think it's difficult also for someone who hasn't like experienced like being close up to horses and being like handling cattle like hands-on. You know, it is quite scary, but it's also like a really nice experience because, you know, it's what we're going to be doing as vets one day. So it's scary. It's a scary process, but you work through it, and like the degree is meant to mold you into the best vet that you can be. So it's difficult, but it's great.
We have questions about the Wildlife Center and also the specific field you can go in. So we do have a Wildlife Center. It was finished last year, 2020. Sorry, I got confused. Like, you do lose track in time. So we did finalize and complete a Wildlife Center last year. It's absolutely amazing. We can have large game, small game. We also have a big cat section of it. We had a tiger, I think it was last year or year before, where they treated it. We also had the gorilla. It was from the Johannesburg Zoo. So we do have a very unique and extensive wildlife center where we can treat a lot of game and wildlife animals. So when you do specialize, you can decide in which field you want to go into after your studies. I saw that one of you want to go in rhino conservation. It's absolutely amazing to work with rhinos. They are amazing species. I fell in love with them right after school when I had an opportunity to work with them. But there's so many fields in wildlife as well. To go into one specific field sometimes it is difficult. It's not always possible. But we do have subjects where we teach students and where they do get confident in wildlife. Like, there's so many students that come to OP and have never ever touched any antelope or game, but we have so many opportunities here to do it. Like, we have the darting.
Yeah, the wildlife committee.
Yes, the darting workshop like the wildlife committee hosts. We have so many outreaches as well with them. So it's very fun, and then you get experience in it as well. So if you don't get experience in wildlife now, but you do get in other practices, that's also okay. You will learn everything on OP as well.
Okay, so I see someone's asked, is physical strength needed to be a vet? In a way, maybe, but no, because I mean, I've seen, like, I have a friend, she's like this, in fact, she's on the OPVSC, Humera. She's quite short and little, but she's really still strong and manages to, like, handle cattle, and, I mean, if she's doing a rectal, she can still get in there, and it's not necessarily, like, a requirement to be physically strong, but it would help a lot, I'd say. especially when it comes to doing like rectals and maybe lifting a dog onto a table. But I mean, it's not like a pre-requirement to be a certain strength or something, you know? Yeah.
Rectals can get tiring, that I can actually just warn you about. Like, it looks easy, but it's not always the easiest thing. Like, you get tired, so we usually use our the non-dominant hand, mine is left then, just to like even it out. So how much time will you spend in I can't say it now. I could have said it like before the session, but now, yeah. So Grace asked, so we, final years have 2 weeks there. They spend 2 weeks and that's their rotation. We do have rotation in clinics, and clinics are still happening during the pandemic. So you have your different rotations. You have ICU, you have equine, which is horses, you have production, smallies, etc. You have a lot of experience in your clinics. It's 18 months. So half in your 5th year you start with. So me and Logs basically just have a year left of theory, and then we have clinics, and we feel like we know nothing, but actually we do. But they do prepare you for clinics. So clinics do still happen during the pandemic.
Okay, so I see Megan has asked a question. Do you get attached to the animals sometimes? You definitely do. I do. I don't know about you, but it's something that is obviously bound to happen, especially if you go visit the animals on campus often. So for example, there's this one horse, his name is Sombai, and I love him. I'm not a horse person, but I love him. But I do know that he's well taken care of and stuff, so it's always nice to go visit him. And also like with the beagles and stuff, because the students are allowed to go walk them, take them for walks and stuff like that, you do get attached to them, and you teach them like new tricks, how to sit, and things like that. And you do get attached to them after spending time with them, you know. So it's one of those things that you learn to deal with.
Okay, so I have a question here. Are there programs for specialization like prosthetics or orthopedics? Yes, but that's only done after you've finished your BVSC. This is for veterinary science. Then you go in MMVet, and then you can specialize. I know someone that did their BVSC, they practiced, and then they wanted to do more, and he went into orthopedics. He is enjoying it a lot. So you will get to do like bits and pieces of it, but you can specialize even further. Like we have eye specialists, we have like orthopedics, we have surgeons, but you'll see it in our hospital video and also some of the curriculum. Then you can also ask more questions with it for perform. The goat catching technique, I will ask perform because he's the production vet as well. He's an excellent vet. Yeah. We were told he is one of the best, and he's also very fun. Like he's the prof that also helped with this program. He's very fun. He actually helped catch sheep with us the day we filmed the sheep. It was very fun. So he's also like, we call it in Afrikaans a book for sport. He's in it. He likes to have fun.
So someone's asked me, what wild animal do I hope to one day work with? So I'm really passionate about the bigger wild animals, not necessarily antelopes and those ones. So I do particularly enjoy giraffes. So hopefully one day I can work with them, as well as other animals like rhinos, even big cats. Like, they're very fascinating to me. So basically those kind of wild animals. I'm very excited for the future to be working with them, hopefully.
So Daniel, I'm not sure, that you always wanted to be a vet. She can also answer it. I wanted to be a horse vet when I was very small, but I was discouraged about if I would be accepted or not. So after school, I actually studied something else. I studied project management and Bloemfontein, so it's very opposite of what I do now. But I actually worked part-time in a wildlife rehab center, and then the people there encouraged me to apply for vet, and I actually got accepted. It was a shock for me, but I was also very grateful for it. So you don't have to know now. You will know later on. Like, you guys are still in school, and you will have so many occupations you would want to do, and then after school you will actually start to realize where you want to go in. And that's my part. Like I only started studying 2 years after school. That's when I started studying vet.
But yeah, for me it was also sort of like when I was little, I didn't know I wanted to work with animals. Like I said, I wanted to be a game ranger. But then, like as you get to high school, you also get like different careers sort of thrown at you. So you do start like looking at other opportunities. Like I thought maybe I might go into engineering or human medicine. But eventually, like in my heart and like I knew deep down I wanted to do something with animals. So I went for veterinary or something at least in the animal science field, if not veterinary. So I guess it just depends on your situation with regards to that.
So we have a comfort break up now, and then we will start at 12 again. So we'll see you soon. Welcome back. We hope you got like a cool drink or coffee or tea or whatever you like to drink or eat. So we have a few shout outs because we love the photos. We have Danae from Niekerk with her 1-year-old quarter horse that she's busy training now. And
we also would like to thank Maxine for tweeting us a photo of you tuning in to us with your little doggy. He's so cute, or she, sorry, I don't know. But thank you guys so much.
please keep the photos coming. We really appreciate it and we enjoy them a lot. And also the chats, we will get back to some of the questions. Unfortunately, Lox will be leaving us soon, so I will try and answer the questions as much as I can. This session we will do a few videos on the facilities we have on OP. So all of the videos we took during this whole weekend was filmed on OP. So we have all of this facilities to our disposal on OP. The skills lab is not far from our classes. We are a small community. We don't really have. We have a lot of animals, but it's not like main campus where you have different buildings. So we have specific buildings, one lecture, not hall, but building that are not tailored, and we have all our classes there, 5th years. That's the one thing, we have a specific year, you are in 1 year. If you are in second year, or second year. If you fail one subject, you're in second year again. It's you
so
are.
Don't fail.
Yes.
Well, it's okay though if you do.
It's okay. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
But we have different classes. We have 3rd year till 5th year, and then you have your clinics. So up next, we will have the Skills Lab video. We hope you enjoy it, and we are looking forward to more questions. And please interact with us. We do appreciate it because all of this is for you.
And don't forget to tweet your photos at #wannabeavet.
At Onderstepoort, we are proud to have a state-of-the-art skills lab. Here we have our breeding Betsy models where students practice rectal palpations. The purpose of our skills lab is to allow us to practice our techniques on training models before we do them on live animals. This gives us some added confidence and competence when doing the procedures on live animals and reduces the risk of harming the live animals.
This is the haptic cow model. It is the most high-tech model that we have in the skills lab at Onderstepoort. And I'm going to demonstrate how this works. So first of all, I start by putting a rubber thimble on my finger, and then I insert my hand into the model, and on the inside there's a device that I have to connect my finger to that will control the movement of my hand so that it will train me how to palpate, how to do a rectal palpation on a horse or on a cow. And then on the computer I've got different settings and different options. Let's start with the haptic cow. So the first thing that I'm going to do, as you can see on the screen of the computer, is that the computer will teach me where to find the edges of the pelvis in a cow. And there my finger goes over the brim of the pelvis into the abdomen. And you can see how the computer controls my hand, so it stops me when I try to get too far, and it shows me where are the edges of the pelvis that I can palpate. Palpate means I can feel with my hand inside the animal. And then I go to the next level here, which is the cervix, the start of the female reproductive tract. And now the machine will guide my hand and will teach me where the cervix is in relation to the pelvis of the animal so that I can feel. And when I go to a real animal, I've already familiarized myself with where to find the structures. And so we can carry on and we can simulate many different things like disease conditions. There's an example of endometritis, which is a disease condition that cows get after calving sometimes. And I can feel what that should feel like. And also pregnancy diagnosis, or finding the ovaries, many other settings that we can do here.
We've got various training facilities. Here we have students practicing suturing. These are our horse aging models. Here we learn to identify the age of a horse by looking at the teeth. We've got additional facilities that we use to further our studies. This facility has preparation tables for drawing up injection, sperm collection, a bull for injection sites and intubation, cats for diagnosing hydrothorax and performing thoracocentesis, a cow for practicing epidurals, and a table with some surgical equipment to practice with. This is our clinical pathology room in the skills lab. This facility includes X-rays, hematology, bandaging, body condition scoring, placing IV catheters, and urinalysis.
Okay, so we have a question. What is the skill you like to do the most? So, this is for Logs.
Okay, so one of the things I really like to do is make blood smears. I also find it therapeutic sometimes, you know, just like smearing blood. It sounds weird, but it's therapeutic. So it's one of the skills I do enjoy. What about you?
I love suturing, so I might just show you how I do suture, because I did in the video, and I really hope you enjoy the skills lab video. It's just a small preview and teaser for you to see. So yeah, let's go to Logs. Oh, let me know if you want to see me do sutures. Please say no.
Say yes. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys how to do a blood smear. I hope I can do it. Remember, we're students and we learn as we go, so I hope I don't mess it up. But anyways, let's go with it. Okay, so firstly, you'll have your blood. So this can all like be found in the skills lab. So what you'll do is you'll first like turn the tube around just to mix the blood up a bit, and then you will open it, and then you have one of these thingies. A pipette, that's what it's called, a glass pipette. So basically it sucks up some of the blood, so you'll just stick it in, and I don't know if you can see, but there's some blood in here now. And then you close your test tube. Okay, and then you have this slide called a spreader slider. So basically it's just chipped on the edge here so that it's a little thinner than the size of a normal slide. So what you'll do is you'll first make sure you clean your slide just to avoid any like oily bubbles or something coming up. Okay, and then, so then using the pipette, it has like a really cool function where if you just like put your finger here, it causes pressure onto, to release like a drop of blood. So what you'll do is you'll release some blood. Okay, so it's a bit big, but it's a drop nonetheless. Usually you try to get the perfect amount, or else you'll have too much blood on your slide, or if you put too little, you'll have too little blood. So when you're making a blood smear, you would hold your spreader slider like this, and with one finger here. And then you can position and just hold the actual slide like that. So what you do is you start in front of the blood drop, then you come back into the blood drop. Then you wait for the blood to like spread on your spreader slide, your spreader slide, and then you slide forward. Okay, that wasn't perfect, but it's the technique. You obviously won't be perfect when you start making blood smears, but as you go through the years, you do get lots of opportunities to do it over and over and over. And like I said, it's therapeutic for me, just going on slides. So, and you do get better. This isn't the best. In fact, it's not that great. So when you make slides, you also try get like a nice sort of rounded edge. This one isn't. A feathered edge. So that's where you would look for cells under a microscope. Yeah, so that's just the basics 101 on making a blood smear. I hope you guys learned something.
Thank you very much, Logs. Like, we really actually enjoyed seeing that. So unfortunately, Logs will be leaving us. So say goodbye.
Bye. Thank you guys for interacting, and please keep asking questions. I'm sure Leonie will be able to take care of it. as well as propolis. And yeah, keep posting stuff. I'd love to see it later as well.
You'll see her now in the next video. We will have the anatomy hall, so we hope that you will enjoy it. She will be busy looking at skeletons.
Fun times.
See you later and enjoy the video.
Hi, I am Nancy Morrison and I will be taking you through the anatomy hall. The anatomy hall is where we learn the biology of animals. It is critical that we know both the structural organization of organs and muscles, as this is the basis of our studies, and it is incorporated in most of our modules. So now I will take you to the anatomy hall. Welcome to the anatomy hall. So this is where the students get to have a hands-on experience on learning about different organs and animal species. And this is where we actually dissect our animals and also learn about bones and the anatomy. In the anatomy hall, we have a museum that helps us to see a different perspective of the anatomy, as well as to single out different organs and focal points in the body systems. For example, we have the front limb here with the innervation of nerves in the muscles. So here, we have the skeletons that help us to see a better perspective of the muscles, the nerves, and the organs, as well as the blood vessels, and how they fit into this whole picture. Why do we actually need to know the skeletal system? That is because we do take radiographs to see any bone fractures, bone abnormalities, and sometimes pathological lesions. And here we have Leonie that will help us view better into that.
Here we have a variety of skeletons that we use during our studies. I know it looks a bit intimidating when you see the skeletons and you can't identify it. So a little tip and trick that we use is that we look at the feet. We have hooves for horses, claws for cattle, sheep and goats, and then paws for dogs. Something that we have different in our anatomy hall, and it's fun to identify, is that we have a camel skeleton. It's unique and fun.
Pathology, which is the study of disease, goes hand in hand with anatomy because we have to know the normal before we can tap into the abnormalities. So for example, we have Tulani here, which will give us an overview of the heart anatomy.
The heart is the central organ of the cardiovascular system. It is composed of the myocardium, which is the muscle of the heart. In general, the shape of the heart resembles a cone. This is the base of the heart, also known as the basis cordis, and the vessels of the blood vessels, they are attached to the base. This is the apex of the heart, also known as the apex cordis. The anatomy of the heart varies among different species. Now I will illustrate how the bovine heart differs from the rest of the species. The bovine heart contains extensive fat, which is whitish in color, and here you can see it actually covers all the vessels which are running along the coronary groove. The aortic arch gives out the brachiocephalic trunk, which is also present in all the species. However, the bovine heart it also contains the left esophagus vein, which is unique to the bovine and the ovine, and absent in the equine and the canine. Moving on to the canine. The canine is oval and contains little or no fat. The aortic arch, it gives off the brachiocephalic artery and the left subclavian artery. Moving on to the equine heart. The equine heart is relatively big as compared to the bovine, and the coronary and the interventricular groove, they contain relatively less fat as compared to the bovine. All in all, this is the equine horses, bovine cattle, ovine sheep, canine dog.
So for our second example, we have Kayla, who will be giving us an overview of kidneys from different species.
So here we have kidneys from the bovine, ovine, canine, and equine species. And it's important to be able to identify and differentiate which kidneys belong to which species. This can be done using certain appearance-based hints. So we'll start off with the bovine kidney. As you can tell, it has a very lobulated structure and it almost likens to a raspberry. Next we have the ovine and the canine kidneys. These are a lot smaller and bean-shaped. The canine kidney is a lot smaller and bean-shaped, and this is what a regular canine kidney looks like. And it's important to be able to identify and differentiate what the regular looks like to be able to understand and differentiate what the irregular looks like. Last but not least, we have the equine kidneys, which are a lot more complex than the past couple of kidneys. This is due to the fact that they are very asymmetrical in nature. So on the right-hand side, the equine kidney is shaped like a heart, as you can see here. And on the left-hand side, the equine kidney is a lot more pyramidal in shape.
For our third and final example, we have Leishan, who will be giving us an overview of the canine uterus.
We have two examples of the canine uterus, a normal one and one presenting with an abnormality. We'll first take a look at the normal canine uterus. We have your vulva, vestibulum, vagina, cervix, uterine body, uterine horn, and ovary. You can also see the broad ligament present and the bladder. At the vagina-vestibular junction, a hymen forms, and this is a site for potential infection. In terms of fertilization, majority of the action takes place in your uterine horn. This is where the sperm will fertilize the egg. It will form a zygote and eventually develop into a fetus. Once the fetuses are fully developed, the mom will give birth to a litter of puppies. Now that we've identified the normal, we can move on to the abnormal. This is a uterus showing signs of pyometra. During the normal estrous cycle, there's fluctuations of hormones which causes thickening of your endometrium. With excessive thickening, there's excessive tissue, and this is a site for potential bacterial infection. The infection is usually so bad that the animal shows systemic signs, meaning that signs of illness can be seen throughout the body.
Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the skills lab video. It was very fun to make and it was very interesting to go through the anatomy hall again. I haven't seen the anatomy hall unfortunately since 2 years back because last year we had COVID and this year. So what happens is in second year you use the anatomy hall a lot because we have a subject, veterinary comparative anatomy, and that's where you do your dissections and learn more about anatomy. So you don't have to worry if you can't remember anatomy from school. It's really okay because you have a whole year to get comfortable with it. So I have a few shout outs here because I received wonderful photos. So firstly is Maudrey with her cat. Then we have Holly with her dog. And Sean and Neil with her horse video. The message with the horse video is my thoroughbred asking for a carrot yesterday after our lesson. It was so fun to see all these photos and videos. I look forward to seeing more of them, and I will shout out because remember it betters your chances of winning some of the vouchers and prizes we have for this event. So before we go on to our next video, I have some questions for you to see who participated yesterday and who can remember some of the stuff that we actually were taught. So firstly, what is Prof. Holmes' hobby? He does it when he has spare time, and then we also used one of the knots yesterday that he uses in this hobby. So that's the first question. The second question is, how old is our faculty this year? It is obvious, but you have to maybe plus 1 or 2, but just leave a comment and then we will take it from there. The third question will be, who presented the sheep video yesterday? You don't have to use the surname, you can just use the name. And then the last question before we go to our anatomy video is, what was the heart rate, the normal heart rate of a dog? And a bonus question. If someone gets this without Googling, what is the heart rate of a horse? So I hope you enjoy the next video. It is on our anatomy hall presented by Nancy.
At OP, we have some of the most diverse clubs and societies at the University of Pretoria. On a daily campus afternoon walk, you are likely to see people walking beagles, people riding horses, and even people scaling our rock climbing wall. All our clubs are run by dedicated student committee members who put in a lot of time and effort into planning all the events and activities throughout the year. Some of the things you can look forward to are fostering kittens, going on community outreaches where you learn more about community engagement, as well as having the opportunity to go on international exchange programs where you can experience veterinary student life and different cultures from around the world. You can also blow off some steam by learning some jiu-jitsu moves and also go on exciting wildlife darting adventures. In short, at OP, there's truly something for everyone to get involved in. Please stay tuned for more info on our clubs and societies.
My apologies, I'm so sorry. It's the clubs and societies video up next. Once again, I'm really sorry. Just remember, we are students and we are not used to this. So yeah, enjoy the next video of clubs and societies.
The only one of its kind in South Africa, Onderstepoort Veterinary Academic Hospital takes pride of place within the University of Pretoria's Faculty of Veterinary Science. It offers comprehensive, affordable treatment to furry, feathered, and scaled patients, including pets and wildlife of all shapes and sizes, 24 hours a day. You can be confident that all our patients are in caring and competent hands of qualified experts assisted by enthusiastic, attentive students under professional supervision. The facility is a center of excellence, with specialists covering an unrivaled variety of disciplines all under one roof. We serve the community through our location visits to help care for those who can't do so themselves. Each case becomes a model of best practice, clinically and ethically, with treatment based on scientifically proven research and knowledge. The experience and expertise of the specialists can also provide innovative solutions to unusual problems, and when an inside view is needed, digital radiography, ultrasound, computer tomography, and nuclear imaging are available to facilitate diagnosis. No matter whether you're big with a routine little problem or tiny with a big ache, you'll always be welcome at the Onderstepoort Veterinary Academic Hospital, and you can be sure that you'll receive the best care possible.
My apologies again. That was the hospital video. It's also called the OVVAH, the Onderstepoort Veterinary Academic Hospital. It is the largest animal hospital in Africa. This day wouldn't have been any fun if there weren't any failures or mistakes, so I do apologize for that. Up next, we will have two videos. The first video will be on the curriculum for the BVSC, Veterinary Science, that is 6 years, and then 1 CCS year with 18 months of practicals. And then the second video is about the curriculum for vet nurse. That's the veterinary nurse degree we have here. That's 3 years, and it is a degree. It is not a diploma, it's a degree. So we hope you enjoy the next 2 videos about the curriculum, and then afterwards I will also do like the rest of the Q&A and the suture. Like you guys asked for it, so I will try. Enjoy the video.
The BVSC degree offered by the Faculty of Veterinary Science at the University of Pretoria is the only program of its kind in South Africa. This professional program is accredited by the South African Veterinary Council, the Veterinary Council of Namibia, the Royal College of Veterinary Surgeons in the United Kingdom, the Australasian Veterinary Board Council, and the Malaysian Veterinary Authority. This accreditation allows our graduates to register as veterinarians in several other countries without having to pass further board examinations. Admission into the 6-year program is possible at first and second year level. There are several compulsory foundational courses that students must register for and complete during the program. These include an academic orientation program, otherwise known as UPO 101, for all first-year students. A scaled-down version is also presented to students entering at a second-year level at the Onderstepoort campus, where UP's Faculty of Veterinary Science is based at the start of their academic year. All first-year students are required to complete the prescribed academic literacy module. Finally, each student needs to complete the hospital orientation program before the respective clinical work integrated learning program begins. Several themes are horizontally integrated per year throughout the duration of the program. The first year of your coursework therefore provides a natural science foundation and is presented at the Hatfield campus. From your second year onwards, all coursework is offered at the Onderstepoort campus. It is during your second year that you will deal with the theoretical and practical skills training on the normal animal and its environment. We focus on disciplines such as anatomy, histology, microbiology, and physiology, along with modules in animal science and pasture science. In the third year, the training focuses on the causes and effects of disease, including modules on infectious diseases, parasitology, toxicology, pharmacology, and organ pathology. During your fourth year, you will focus on skills training in clinical veterinary medicine and will therefore be introduced to modules aimed at diagnostics and therapeutics related to the individual animal patient. Skills training in clinical veterinary medicine continues into the first half of the fifth year, during which the clinical modules include population-level veterinary medicine. During these semester-specific species-directed modules will also be presented to you. Similarly, vertical integration occurs across the years of the program's duration, which gradually expands your skills in the following areas: veterinary professional life, research and evidence-based veterinary science, clinical skills training, curricular community engagement and extramural studies, as well as pathology. The last 18 months consist of clinical work integrated learning in core and elective veterinary practice. It is during this stage that you will focus on experiential training in the academic hospital as well as in the satellite and other approved facilities. During your final year, you will also compile your research report. The BVSC curriculum consists of a blended learning approach to develop students holistically. While the majority of your program takes place at the Onderstepoort Veterinary Academic Hospital and its satellite community clinics, you will also be exposed to private practices, state veterinary services, commercial and small-scaled farms, abattoirs, and various other related industries. Veterinary science at UP provides a spectrum of exciting opportunities for a career in biomedical sciences and animal health. For more information on the curriculum, visit www.up.ac.za/Faculty of Veterinary Science.
Veterinary nursing requires a dedicated and motivated individual with particular interest working with animals and their owners. The BVet Nurse degree is a professional 3-year bachelor's degree offered by the Faculty of Veterinary Science at the University of Pretoria and accredited by the South African Veterinary Council. The degree involves scaffolded learning. This focuses on 3 areas of progression, namely, general theoretical principles about healthy animals, advanced practical veterinary nursing, and nursing of critical care patients. One of the benefits of the curriculum is that you develop a deeper understanding of the content, which is combined between disciplines to allow smooth transitions from clinical understanding to the application of real-life problems. The blended teaching approach allows for self-development and improvement by means of online learning activities and assessments. In the first year of your studies, you will be introduced to general veterinary and basic nursing principles with a theoretical and practical component. The modules will include foundational veterinary sciences, primary animal healthcare, veterinary nursing practice, clinical veterinary nursing, as well as nursing professional life, which carries through to your 3rd and final year. Practical training is compulsory and involves structured supervised practicals, mainly in the Onderstepoort campus skills laboratory, where you will learn through simulations and the use of animal models. The 2nd year advances from system-specific nursing to multi-systemic diseases and intensive care nursing. Once a week, you will have clinical training that consists of rotation through outpatients, isolation, and intensive care unit clinics within the Onderstepoort Veterinary Academic Hospital. You will also perform practical assessments in the skills laboratory. The final year of your degree focuses more specifically on clinical work integrated learning. The veterinary nursing practice module entails a 35-week period during which you are rotated through all clinics in the Onderstepoort Veterinary Academic Hospital and other veterinary institutions. The Nursing Professional Life module assesses whether you have developed the skills and competencies to be a professional veterinary nurse. The BVet Nurse program is a combination of multiple teaching and learning elements. While the majority of the program is offered at the Onderstepoort Veterinary Academic Hospital and its community clinics, it also provides you with exposure to private practices and other facilities. For more information on the full curriculum for the BVet Nurse program, visit www.up.ac.za/Faculty of Veterinary Science.
So I really hope you enjoyed the curriculum videos. As you can see, we really do a lot of subjects here. We call them modules. It's very interesting and a lot of work, but it's really worth it when you do pass them and when you reach the end goal. So it is a lot of work, but it is doable. Remember, there's so many people that already graduated and have become a vet. So I have a few questions, and then I was told that you guys would love to see a suture. Yeah, it will be interesting, but yeah. So the blood we used with the blood smear is equine blood. It's not strawberry juice. We use real blood to do the blood smears. It's much better than to get that consistency through fake artificial products. And the suture I will be showing you today is the simple interrupted suture. It's a very easy suture and also the first one we learn. When we start skills pracs in 2nd year with normal behavior of animals, and then these parts on your 3rd year, it's part of your general surgery module subject. This is where you use sutures, bandaging. The 2 sutures that we do get taught here is, in 3rd year, is the simple interrupted and then the simple cutaneous. So I will be demonstrating the simple interrupted suture, and there are different sutures for different procedures, but this is the easiest one for me to explain. Okay, firstly, what you need is your suture material. This is nylon. It's the easiest to show you what I'm gonna do. If I use monochrome or anything else, it's much easier to show you with nylon. I have needle holders, a needle holder, scissors to cut the suture after I'm done, and then also tweezers. So we usually don't use the rat tooth suture. As you can see, there's 2 teeth here. So we usually don't use this in animals because it does damage the skin. So it causes unnecessary trauma. So firstly, when you open suture material, and you have to be sterile, you would, okay, I'm not sterile at the moment, like of course. So you will open the suture material, like so, and you will throw it in front of the table on a sterile cloth for the surgeon. Okay, now it's just sticking, but it will fall. Then the surgeon who will be putting in the sutures will open it. You just tear it. It's very easy to open. Holding this, a needle holder, you have your index finger here, middle finger to the side, and you hold it like this. You have more control over the needle holder when you do sutures. You will get your own technique when you're in practice, but this is how we are taught here at OP. You take the suture material out, it's in this nice packet. You open it, and there's the needle. So you take the needle out. It's a long material, so it does take me a while to get it through. So we use the tweezers to help us with the needle, but as you can see, unfortunately, I do have the wrong tweezers here, so it's not very helping at the moment. So I will be just using my other hand, but in practice, don't use your hand. So what we do is the pinky will hold the suture material like so, and then you will take a piece of skin. We also have these nice suture pads here that we use to practice on. They help a lot. So what you will do is you would put the suture like a centimeter from the incision. This won't work here, so you will just pull it out like this and put your needle holder again. Pull it all the way through, but remember to keep an end, like a tail. You would reposition the needle, like we keep it like 3/4 from the edge, as you can see here, with the suture material here. Hold the needle holder again, like correctly, with the suture material, the string with your pinky. Just this helps that everything doesn't get entangled. Again, you put the suture again, like a centimeter from the incision, pull them out until you have this. So now, here's the fun part. The long piece you will take with your non-dominant hand, and you will use the needle holder in front. So we use the 2-1-1 rule. That's when you make the knots. So you have 2 loops from the long end. You use the tail, you pull it through, and then you go like this. You should see the loop go at the opposite side. So you see the needle holder is towards me the first time. So now you make a second 1 loop, take the tail, pull it to the other side. My tail is a bit long, sorry. You pull it to the other side, and you make a knot. And then there, 1 more towards me. And then you have your suture. So you use your scissors to cut the long edges. And the goal is when you have a suture in, it should be movable. Like as you can see, it can move to side to side. So I will place 1 more just to show you. This does, like the first time it looks horrible, but it's muscle memory. So from the first suture, you go in 1 centimeter from the other one. You take it out. Sorry, this tweezer is not helping. Pull it out with a tail at the end. Reposition your needle. Go through. The sutures, the end and beginning should please be opposite of one another. You don't want the suture there and there. They should be like parallel of the other. Like 2 knots, first one, my tail is a little bit short. 2 knots towards me with the needle holder. 1 knot opposite, and then towards me. So I am a student, so I do struggle still. You get used to it afterwards, and then you just try your best until you are there. So I don't think you will be able to see, but you can see the the sutures are on the line. You can see that it is closed. You can see that this one is a little bit too long, and this one is more perfect. But you can still move them. It's very important that you can move your sutures. To remove them, it's very easy. You just cut the one side, and then you pull it out. So that's suturing, the simple interrupt suture. This is what you will learn in general surgery in your 3rd year. And then this just gets better and better as you go along with muscle memory. The next video, and unfortunately the final video, is our ending and a gag reel. This is one of my favorite videos, and I do hope that you will enjoy it. Please let me know in the comments what you think. Thank you.
Thank you so much for participating in this. We really hope you enjoyed this experience. We can't wait to see you at OP!
A picture? I'll be showing you the basic clinical exam on a beagle. No, not on a beagle, on a dog. Praat ek te vinnig? Ek weet. Jy gaan nou sien, nou gaan ek herzakel. Oh, we are super excited to have seen state-of-the-art skills lab. Here we can see our facilities that we use during our studies. Gebeur dit? Moet ek so stop?
I will be talking you through the basic behavioral characteristics.
And ultimately to help.
Hi, I am Lisa Mateo. Then I was going to pause after hi.
What's wrong?
Guys, stop.
Kumara, okay, I have an idea. Let's take all of them out.
Skeletons that we use during our studies. I know it looks a bit intimidating.
The facilities we will be showing you are the exotics. No, that's wrong.
A bull for epidural. Damn it. Sorry. Daar's 'n queen hier, Bonnie. These are horse teeth. Sorry. These are horse model. Sorry. These are horse aging models. Here we.
I did do my dance. Good stuff. All right.
The stress. Thank you.
Nancy,
I really hope you enjoyed that video. When we saw it as a committee, it was super funny and we laughed because it was a wonderful experience to be filming these videos for you. We really did enjoy it and we hope that you had fun as well. I've seen so many comments here about everybody thanking us for the weekend. It's a pleasure, like we really enjoyed it. It brought us as a comm together as well. And I have a few shout outs here. We have here Wilmeen, had an extraordinary weekend working with Rhino Connect. Thank you so much for your photo. It is super fun to see your photos. And then Sadie, assisting with the Wanna Be a Vet presentation. Thank you to the best roti ever. Thank you so much for all of the photos you've sent us. Remember, we are still looking at participation until after perform session. He will answer every question about the value-added forms, MBTs, getting acceptance, like a second choice for studies, he will answer all of that, remember, at 1. So until our next comfort break, I have a few extra questions that I will answer. Anke, are you allowed to take photos of the bones in the anatomy hall? We are allowed to take photos of the bones. We are not allowed to take photos of the animals. So when we have our dissections, we are not allowed to take photos of the animals, but with the bones. When we were filming the anatomy hall, we have a bone room. It's basically almost like a bone library, and we have different bones there. We have whales, there was an elephant as well, and it was very fun taking photos of them as well. Maybe I'll tweet that photo. It was very fun to see it. And I hope you enjoyed the suture materials. It was very interesting to do it in front of a camera. The next question was, are the facilities open outside of class now? So we have class usually from 8:10, but now it's 8:10 until 1, and then we have lunch, and then our practicals start at either 1:30 or 1:45. So then we have practicals. It can be either animals or in the skills lab. It depends on what you have that day. And then the facilities, this facility here is open for students to come and practice anytime. Not during practicals, because especially now with COVID, we have like limited spaces for working, especially like the social distancing and then the amount of students we are allowed to host in one building and one room. So what we do is then you can make a booking, like you book the time, and then you can come and do sutures, blood smears. You can help with like your rectal palpations, anything basically. You do, you book it, and then the skills lab is open. I think it's either to 4 or 5, where you can practice all of this. The anatomy is also open at specific times during the day, and then you can go and study. Usually we pulled all-nighters, and then we studied through the night for anatomy because we do hit and runs. It's very interesting. How it works is we have 4 minutes, and then you have to answer the questions in front of you, and then you have to go to the next table. So it's hit and run. Like you write, 4 minutes is done, you go to the next table and you write the new one. Hit and runs are very fun. It's very interesting. And then we also have oral exams. Don't be scared about the oral exams. They're actually very fun. Much easier for me, not for all of the students. Thank you so much for all of the comments. It's really nice to see the comments. I've been smiling non-stop, and I've seen you actually have some of the answers correct here. Thank you so much for participating yesterday and answering the questions. It's really fun to do the quiz with you. If there's any questions that we haven't answered, please just ask us. We will do it in Prof. Orm's session if there's time. If there's time after he explained the subjects and also the admission, is very nice. Part of him is his work as well. And if you have any questions for production vet, ask him as well. He does like questions. He's very good in answering them. So, you guys are really good at answering the questions. You actually got it right. Sorry, I'm just going through. Okay, Jade Rains, I'm so confused. My customation says I'm Melinda. I will take note of that. I will correct that then. Well, I see that there's not many questions left, only answers. If there's anything I missed, I will tell you. We will have a 10-minute comfort break until 1 with Prof. Orm's session. If there's anything you else would like to know from a student's perspective, please ask. We don't mind. We do enjoy helping any learners with questions. It's very fun to answer it as well. So enjoy your comfort break. I will see you at 1. Our live session with Prof. Horn. I really do appreciate that he's back here with us. We will be asking him about some questions about the admission for veterinary science and vet nurse, the program itself, and then also the questions I have received in the chat box. Thank you, Prof.
Thank you, and thanks. I hope you enjoyed the morning.
We did. So first off, Prof, can you please explain to us which subjects are needed for admission for our degrees and why?
Okay, so for the BVSC program, you need to have English, mathematics, and science. Those are the three required subjects for admission to the BVSC program. If you are in an alternative schooling system like a Cambridge system, and I noticed yesterday that there were quite a number of students from Cambridge systems, then the science usually includes chemistry and physics as two separate subjects. So then you need to have 4 subjects as a requirement. And we use for selection, we use exactly the same subjects. So we don't look at your other school subjects, we only look at the 3 for selection. You still need to have an APS score of 35 minimum to be considered for BVSC, plus the 3 subjects. Why do we look at the 3 subjects? Very important, because we have done studies on our own students and we looked back at their school scores, and we found that those 3 subjects are really important in determining your success in the program. And that's why we now include them. And mathematics counts the heaviest. So whenever your teachers tell you you've got to prepare well for mathematics and you've got to work hard, yes, it's true. Yeah. Because mathematics helps you to develop your brain, so you create a lot more mental capacity than you would have done without mathematics, and that's what we need at university level. So you need to work hard at mathematics especially. In the nursing program, we also look at the same subjects, although that will be changing. For the students that are this year in grade 8 to 11, it's going to change. It doesn't matter if you have those subjects, but you don't need to have science necessarily, physical science. You can also have biology. So you can have either or, and we will consider you based on those. So for nursing this year, for the admission to the 2022 program, we will still require science. And then from the following year, for admission 2023, we will require either science or biology, plus maths and English. And if you are not an English first language speaker and you have first additional language English, it doesn't matter. So it's either home language or first additional language.
All of our subjects on OP is English, so we are taught in English. Just to get like small example of math, we do have to calculate fluid administration and therapy in the animals. So we have a question here from Abigail. Is it necessary to do a full A-level chem, or can we just go up to AS chem?
Okay, so Abigail, that's if you're in a Cambridge system. And the best would be with that kind of specialized question, if I may put it that way, to contact us and to make sure that you have exactly the right subject choice and at the right level. So we do require you to be at AS level, but the best is to contact us on the emails that are on our website at the moment, because the phone lines are down with COVID. So please contact us on the emails that you can find on the faculty website.
Yes. We will have the faculty website
URL.
Yeah, URL provided to you as well, and the break later. Instead of having science, can you apply with life science?
Okay, so that would be possible for nursing, but not for veterinary science, and that would not be valid this year yet. We're still on the old admission system, but then from the 2023 intake, yes, then life science is biology, so that would be possible.
Okay, it's anonymous. Will I be fine at OP if I didn't do biology in school?
yes, you will be fine if you didn't do biology at school. So often scholars ask us, what do we recommend in terms of other subjects? Now, we can't really recommend for you. You have to get some good advice from your teachers probably, but you will be fine if you didn't take biology. If you had biology at school, it might help you in your first year of studies at university. But in the first year in the BVSC course, we cover the same syllabus, and you will be fine to proceed with the rest of the program.
I remember what I said before or after the anatomy whole video, is that we do a whole year of anatomy in the second year. So then you study anatomy from the beginning and the end again, and it helps a lot because then you actually have to do with the organs. And as you can see in the anatomy video, we also are actually using plastinates, and it's amazing to use them because you have little windows that's cut out to see the anatomy better. So from Nika van Zyl, why is the APO score 35?
Nika, that's a good question actually. Why is the APS score 35? Because if you look at the successful candidates, it is actually usually much more than that. APS 35 is the minimum. So that's just the way that we filter the applications to make sure that everybody who is applying has a chance of being selected. So we draw a line somewhere, and 35 is the same level that we use for many other courses at university that require a little bit of an academically stronger student. So I hope everybody knows how to calculate the APS. If you don't, go and have a look in our brochure that's online. There is also a link in the invitation to this program, to the Want to Be a Vet Professional, that takes you directly to the brochure. And in the brochure, the calculation for APS is described very well.
Can you use your grade 12 first term marks to apply, or must it be your grade 11 year mark?
And who's asking the question?
Anke.
Anke. And I've had a similar query from a parent in the last week. Because of COVID, it affected some pupils' performance at the end of grade 11. And the answer is no. We don't look at your first term or second term matric results. We look at your grade 11 results, and then we confirm your selection with your final matric results. But there is an option here, so let me explain. We do now do 2 rounds of selection for school leavers, like the faculty used to do many years ago. So there's a first round of selection that happens in the middle of the year, which is based on your grade 11 final marks. And that then gives you a conditional entry into the program if your application is successful. You then have to comply with certain conditions that are described in the brochure to maintain your place. If you can't keep up with the conditions, then you lose your place, but you are then considered again for the second round selection, which takes place in January or February, like in this year when everything was late. But it happens just before we start with the program. If you were unsuccessful with the first round of applications, we will still consider you in the second round. You don't need to apply again. We don't open for applications again, so we take the same applications and we consider you again. But then, with the second round in January, we consider you based on your matric results. Because we wait for those results to come in from Umalusi, and then we use those results for the second round selection. So it's a little bit different to the way it used when you were selected, for instance.
Long ago.
Because we now have the 2 rounds to make it a little bit fairer for those who did not perform well in grade 11, and that actually then perform very well in matric. It gives them an opportunity also to be selected.
Okay, I do not have a name. When will applications end, like the submission of it?
Okay, so the applications this year close on the 31st of July, as you can see in the brochure, so it's later than usual. Usually we close on the 31st of May, but this year we close later because everything this year started later. And therefore we give everybody a little bit of additional time.
How many students will you accept for vet nurse and vet science for next year?
So every year we, for the last few years, we admit 190 students in total into the BVSC program. But it's according to different categories, which are explained in the brochure in a lot of detail. So go and have a look at the tables in the brochure that will explain you for your category, where you fit in, how many students we accept in that category. So total is 190, of which 140 are school leavers from different categories, as well as international students. 140 are first-year students, and 50 are second-year students. So we also admit students into the second year. And that brings us to the selection. If you were unsuccessful as a school leaver, what do you do next? There was a video that we played that also explained that. So then you have to go into a BSc program if you want to study veterinary science or BVSC. Then you start with the BSc program and you apply again in your first year for a transfer to the BVSc program. And then we look at your BSc performance. So then it's a little bit more equal for everybody because we're all in the same academic environment. And then we select a further number of students there. So there's a total of 50 students who join us in the BVSc program only in the second year. In the nursing program, we admit 50 students every year, and that's only into the first year. So if you were not successful with that application, you can take any other course at university and then you can apply again. It doesn't have to be a BSc in the case of nursing.
It is not the end of the world if you can't get in directly after school. Remember, you still have a lot of time to decide what you want to do. So we have a question here from Danae. Is Cambridge recognized to be a higher qualification at normal schools? If so, will students doing Cambridge be favored for getting into BVSC?
Okay, and that's another very good question. And we changed our system about a year or two ago to make it fairer for pupils coming from different schooling backgrounds, because we recognize that they are not all exactly the same. And you will find a table in the brochure that explains exactly how we benchmark the different schooling systems. What we do with school leavers is we then break the school leaver category into two subcategories, and we compare all the alternative schooling, which includes the Cambridge curriculum, for instance, and there are several others that are listed there, like the German system and the IB system and so on. And we then consider them as one category, and we consider the National Senior Certificate and IEB as another category. So those two then don't have to compete with each other because we consider them as two separate schooling systems, and they compete within that group. The majority are still National Senior Certificate and IEB because the majority of our applications are NSC and IEB. So we split it according to the number of applications. If we get 80% NSC and IEB and 20% alternative, then we award the spaces in the same proportion. So then we award 80% of the spaces to NSC and IEB and 20% to the rest.
That makes sense. Prof, can I please explain the value-added form?
Okay, so the value-added form is also described in the brochure, so you can get all the detailed information in the brochure, and I really encourage everybody to go and read that brochure from page 1 to page last. It's a lot of reading, and you've got to read it slowly and 2 or 3 times to understand it completely. But the value-added form, the intention of the value-added form are different things. And the one thing is to prepare you for your studies so that you know what you are letting yourself into. That you don't come to Onderstepoort not knowing what a veterinary nurse does or what a veterinarian does. So we encourage you to go and visit the different aspects of the profession, not only 1 or 2 aspects. And we then award a score according to your shadowing that you did whilst at school. And we really look in the value-added form at the spectrum of your shadowing rather than the amount of time that you spend. So it doesn't help you on the value-added form to spend hundreds of hours in one practice. It's more valuable to you to see different aspects so that you visit a small animal practice, an equine practice, a production animal practice, so that when you come to OP, you've had all the exposure already, and we really value that. We think it's good for our students to have that background before they come here, so that you know what you're letting yourself in. The other reason for the value-added form is also to give you some pre-learning.
Yeah.
And many of our students who have been to practices a lot will attest to that you actually learn quite a lot whilst visiting a practice. And when you come to OP and you learn the actual theory of the course, it makes it a lot easier for you to understand the learning because you've already experienced it in practice. Another aspect is also we want students who join us to understand how taxing and difficult the veterinary profession can be, especially for veterinarians, but also for veterinary nurses. So we want you to understand that it's a very tough and can be a very difficult environment to work in, and you need to have a lot of mental resilience to survive in that environment.
Yeah.
And we want you to have that experience before so that you can make the correct decision for your career. If you have a passion for animals, veterinary science and veterinary nursing are not the only options. So you have to be aware of the fact that there are some challenges in terms of your mental resilience, and you've got to be mentally strong if you want to study these courses.
There was a question that me and Logs that answer, but I think Prof is also, what type of personality do you need to have to be a vet?
Yeah, that's an interesting question, because we actually do with our students in the second year, we do an analysis of personality types and so on for everybody to understand who you are and how you can fit into a team, for instance. And many scientific studies have been done of different professions, including veterinarians, and in actual fact, the profession includes all types of personalities. So there's not a typical veterinarian personality as one would like to think there should be, but it's not actually like that. I think that the most important common thing amongst vets and vet nurses is that we have a passion for animals.
Yeah.
That's why we end up here in the first place. And then we also are very inquisitive people, and we are problem solvers. Because what we do in practice, and it doesn't matter if you become a state veterinarian or somebody who works in an abattoir who's responsible for meat safety, or somebody who works in a dairy who's responsible for milk safety, or somebody who works with horses. It doesn't really matter which of those directions you take. You are going to be solving problems.
Yeah.
Which is another reason why we focus on mathematics, because it challenges your brain to solve problems. You're challenged with a problem, and you have to solve it. And that's what vets and vet nurses do in practice all the time, from the morning to the evening. Depending on the practice type that you do, you are either going to be challenged with smaller problems frequently, like in a typical small animal practice where you get consultations every 10 or 15 minutes and you're challenged with a problem and you have to solve it. Or you could be challenged with much bigger problems, like maintaining the food safety in an abattoir environment, for instance. It's a much longer term problem that you have to solve. But you get these problems to solve, and that's what we do. So that's another typical characteristic, I would say, of vets and vet nurses.
And don't worry, we get taught like that. We get taught like
we get taught like it.
You guys know what I mean. Like, we actually get all of the experience that we need. All of the techniques and puzzle pieces will come together at the end. We have a question here about a problem about submission of the value-added form. I have a problem about submitting it. Where can you submit it, and why?
And when does it open? So how the process works with the value-added form is you first apply, and then there's first a screening process that takes place behind the scenes that you're not aware of. So all those applications initially are screened by people, by real people, not by computers. So they go through the applications, they make sure that all the documentation is correct, that everything has been submitted and so on. and then in batches we release the value-added form. So if you have any, if at the moment you can't see the value-added form on your portal, on your UP portal where you first registered, you've got to wait because you are being considered at the moment. If you see nothing happens, you can email one of the people whose names are on our website, and you can just ask them to investigate your case, and they will give you a response by email. So please don't phone. The phone lines are not working at the moment. Please use email. And we put emails of 4 people on the website who you can contact and ask for some assistance, and they will help you within a short time.
Prof, a lot of questions was regarding the NBT's test.
Okay, so the National Benchmarking Test. Yes. So this faculty investigated at the same time when we looked at which school subjects are the important ones for success in our programs. We also considered the NBT, or the National Benchmarking Test, as part of the package at the time. And we then, following the results of that investigation, we made a decision to not include the NBT anymore in our selection system. So for the past few years, we haven't been using the NBT at all. We use your school marks, and then we have the catch-up system of the second round of selection. In case your school standard was a little bit higher than another school, for instance, you get another opportunity to be selected. So NBTs, don't worry about them. For this faculty, we're not going to consider them.
Love our faculty. Okay, I might say this name wrong. Siuban. Out of curiosity, if you don't get required APS and go into a BSc, will you still be able to transfer into BVSc at a later stage?
Yes, okay, so that's a good question. So let's say you don't make the 35 APS, but your maths, science, and English subject scores are good enough to enter a BSc course, and you then apply for a transfer, then we don't look at the APS anymore. So then we look at your BSc scores, and you are able to transfer, as long as you can get yourself into a BSc program. We prefer students to go into a BSc program at UP, because it's just easier for us to select you from there, where we know that the standard that you're taking is exactly the same as everybody else.
Prof just answered Enrique's question as well now.
So if I can add to that, we do also consider students from other universities. We don't exclude them, but they have a smaller category. Yeah. And we decided the sizes of those categories on the number of applications that we get. So we allocate them proportionately based on the number of applications that we know we're getting more or less every year. The numbers obviously change a little bit every year. So some years it is more difficult to get into one category because there are many applications. Another year it may be a different category. But the sizes of the categories are determined more or less on the number of applications we receive.
What BSc programs can you choose as a second option if you don't get into veterinary science or vet nurse?
Okay, so if you're desperate that you want to get into BVSc or veterinary science, which is often the case with our applications or applicants, then we recommend that you take one of the BSc courses that are listed in the brochure as your second choice. And it's important that you must indicate that as your second choice on your application, because once let's say for instance your application for BVSc is not successful, you can't then go and apply for BSc because then the applications have closed already and they will not consider you, unfortunately, which means you then have to take a gap year or do something else. But there are programs and they're listed. So there's the BSc Animal Science, BSc Agric Animal Science is what many students take, but you can also take Biological Sciences or another one which I've just forgotten now, but it's in the brochure anyway. Zoology, that's
zoology.
The other one. Zoology you can also take. The first year of all those courses are more or less the same.
Yeah,
so it doesn't really matter because you take the same modules or subjects that you would have taken as a BVSc student as well. The first year is quite generic for the two, which is why it's possible then for you to transfer from the BSc into BVSc because you've taken most of the modules already.
Makishele, does BVSC have extended program? If so, how do you apply?
Yes, okay, Makishele, there is an extended program. At this stage, it's the BSc extended program. And you can, if you want more information about that, you can inquire with the NAS faculty, Natural and Agricultural Sciences faculty. And we do transfer students from that program into the BVSc program. And you will see, if you have a look in our brochure, that there is a specific category for students transferring from the extended BSc program into the BVSc program. And they will make sure, if you tell them when you register that you want to transfer to BVSc, they will tell you which modules to take to make sure that you have the correct choice to be considered for the transfer.
Okay, Daniel, I did make the mistake now in the previous questions. Are sport and culture very important?
We actually, in the value-added form, we do value the fact that you are a rounded person as well, that you're not only sitting behind your books and studying all the time and getting a very good score for mathematics. Because we also want to admit students that have got a little bit of a broader background. And our students here at OP show that, because they do lots of other activities outside of their studies, which is good for you as a person to also develop. So we do value that, and within the value-added form, you will see that there's a specific category within the form where you can submit evidence of sporting or culture achievements and participation that you've had, as well as leadership. And we do consider those, and you get a certain score for that participation.
One of the questions that we had earlier was, do we have a music room?
Okay, that's a very interesting question, because I really love students that do music. I think music is one of the few things that develop your whole brain, because it affects many different aspects, analytical as well as emotional, and it combines all those things together, and there are very few things that do that in the same way as music. We do have several activities at OP where students can participate in musical activities like the choir, and in the OP Village residence there's several groups as well. And then we have a concert once a year where we have some fun and listen to our students performing. We don't have a dedicated music room on campus, but at the residence there are some facilities. So they've got a common room there with a piano in where students sometimes go and practice. We do also have a piano on campus in the cafeteria, which the choir uses when they practice. So there are many opportunities, and I think student life at OP is really good because of the variety of opportunities that are provided here. Okay, so we're going to take a short break now, just a short comfort break of about 3 minutes, and we will start again at 12:30.
Welcome back to the session of Perform and the Q&As. We will be continuing with the questions, and remember, we will be awarding the voucher prizes at the end of this session, so stay tuned, please. So the first question we have here, if you have already done courses like AI stands for Artificial Insemination, does it count for your application?
Okay, so some students would have done AI courses, for instance, and we do value that, but it doesn't contribute to any credits or anything like that in our course. We will teach you again later on, but we do think that it's very valuable, so we want to encourage people to do things like this when they have the opportunity. So it will not give you any credit on your application or in the curriculum, but it's not a bad idea to do.
I was taught this 2 weeks ago. It was very fun. It was very interesting. The next question is, when you learn, this is from Christina, when you learn to become a vet at the University of Pretoria, do you learn how to deal with wild animals?
Yes, we do have, Christina, we do have a course in the program now, actually several that look at different aspects, but there's also a dedicated wildlife course in the 5th year, which you will do next year. That will give you all the details about game capture and conservation. So that is something to look forward to. And then in the final year, when you do your rotations, there is also an option to take an elective. And one of the electives is called Rural Veterinary Practice and Wildlife. And then you will get some additional practical work-related experience in the wildlife industry. We have also recently opened at the beginning of lockdown, almost exactly a year ago, during our centenary, we opened a brand new wildlife facility, which forms part of our hospital, although it's a loose-standing building. So we're very proud of that. That's the only such facility in the country and in the whole of Africa that can host the kind of animals that we do there. That forms part of the hospital, and there's a rotation when you're a final year student as a vet as well as a nurse, that you will go through that part of the hospital as well.
If you would like to see what we have on OP as well, you can follow our Facebook account. It's the Faculty of Veterinary Science Onderstepoort, and then we have a wildlife account, Veterinary Wildlife Research at Onderstepoort. So you can also look at our Facebook accounts for information. Then we have a question here, again from Makasile. Is marine biology covered in a BVSC curriculum?
Marine biology as such is not included, but we do have aqua veterinary or aquaculture and aqua vet, because there are veterinarians that work in the fish industry or in the aquaculture industry as veterinarians. It's part of the intensive production systems, similar to the pig industry and the poultry industry, and it's a very rapidly growing industry, not only in South Africa, in the whole of Africa. So we do actually look into this as one of our development areas for the faculty in the future. And in the course, in the BVSC course, there are certain aspects where you will get exposed to that, and once again, there are specific electives in your final year where you can also get some additional exposure, and you can go out to farms with an aqua vet, and you will get the opportunity to see what the kind of work is that they do.
And exotic animals?
Exotic animals the same. So we do have an exotics animal clinic within our hospital. That's a specialized clinic that looks at exotic animals only. And we also have an elective that's called Small Animal and Exotic Practice in the final year. And if you take that elective, you get some additional exposure to exotics so that you are better prepared if you want to focus on that kind of practice area. There was a question, now that I'm thinking of this, that came through yesterday already about the whether you specialize within the course.
Yeah,
yes. And I just want to address that because it's an important question. We train veterinarians and nurses according to a specific standard that's determined by the South African Veterinary Council, and we call that the Day 1 competencies. So it provides a list of competencies that you have to have when you complete your course here. It does not include any specialist areas. So we do have electives in the final year, but they do not differentiate your qualification. Once you qualify, the qualification is exactly the same for everybody, and you can enter any area of practice within that profession. There's no specialized route in the undergraduate curriculum. If you want to become a veterinary specialist later on, then there are fantastic options to do at the faculty in our MEd Vet program, which is a postgraduate program, and if you complete that program, you become a veterinary specialist that can work as a specialist in a specific area, and that there are many different ones. If you're interested, you can go and have a look in our yearbook, which is available online, and you will find a variety of the programs that are published there.
Just remember, the videos that we showed you during the weekend is just a teaser. We have a lot of departments here. Interesting is like we have toxicology, infectious diseases, and so on. It is also listed in the yearbook. I just want to make sure. So you can have a look at that. Prof, Megan has a question. Do you use the same instruments on animals that you use on humans? It's actually...
Yeah, it's an interesting question, Megan. Certain instruments are the same and certain instruments are specialized because of the anatomy of the different species. So there are certain basic surgical instruments, for instance, that would be similar or the same. And then there are some instruments that have been adapted for the veterinary industry in a specialized way. And I can maybe mention a couple of very simple examples. Using ultrasound technology for pregnancy diagnosis. That is used in humans as well as in animals. But in animals, we have specialized probes, which is the part that connects to the body, that are adapted for specific species of animals and that are used only for those species. So that's just one example, but there are many other examples like that of specialized equipment that we use.
I would just like to remind you about the faculty's webpage. It is www.up.ac.za/faculty-of-veterinary-science. This live event will be recorded, so you can go back and just get that. I will post it on the chat box now again as well. Prof, what is the, anonymous, what is the beneficial amount of time to have on your value-added form?
Okay, so there's no specified time that we want to see on the value-added form, but we do require whoever was supervising you at the time in a practice area or at the state vet or wherever you were, or at an abattoir, for instance, we do require that professional person to sign off on your experience. And there's an opportunity for them then to write on the form what exposure you saw. So we don't look at the amount of time, and we don't even record that anymore. And there's an interesting reason why. A few years ago we did, and this is maybe why the question is still around, because you may have spoken to somebody who was selected some years ago. We did record the number of hours. What we noticed then was two things. Firstly, some practices were complaining because they were getting so many applications from scholars to attend the practice that they couldn't fit everybody in. And it was becoming a little bit of a problem for them. The other fact that we found is that the number of hours spent in a practice in the end actually negatively correlated with your score in mathematics. Because you spent so many hours in the practice that you didn't study for your mathematics tests and exams. And that's why we then did away with that system, and we now only require you to have exposure that is signed off by the professional person who was shadowing you at the time. While I have an opportunity, I want to, while Leonie is looking for more questions on the chat, please keep sending us questions. We love that. The interaction is great.
Yeah.
I want to mention for students that want to know about bursaries, that there are a number of different bursary opportunities for our programs, and one of them is through the National Department of Agriculture and Land Reform, and they have on their website, they explain the application process. And the application process will be open, or is open at the moment, and will remain open for a few more months. So if you are a matriculant this year and you consider to apply and you want to look into options for financial assistance, that's the place to go, one of the places to go, and you will find the information there and you can apply then through their website instructions.
I'm just skipping through most of the questions are duplicates, especially with requirements for the course. Please go to our brochure. They do explain everything in depth. Prof, what background? So as a background you come from, is it important? So like if you lived on a farm, if you were in like in an agriculture school, is it important?
Yes, so it will help you if you came from a farm or from a rural area, or if you were in an agricultural school, for instance, to complete your value-added form. We do value that because we do want to attract students that have that kind of background. We do actually like a variety of different students. That's very good for our program here, but we do require a number of students that come from an agricultural background or from a farming background or from a rural background, because we need veterinarians, young veterinarians who qualify to go back to those areas and to make a difference in their communities. That's really a need for the veterinary profession that we have to develop further in South Africa. So we value that a lot. And in your value-added form, certain exposures will help you to complete the form, and it will make it easier for you to get a good score.
Jade has a question about how do we ask a vet about job shadowing?
It's easy. You go to the practice and you speak to the receptionist and you ask, may I come and shadow in this practice? And in most practices, they're quite friendly and they will give you an opportunity. If they're very full with a lot of students wanting to shadow, then they will work out the roster and you will get an opportunity. So just go to them, don't be shy. Whenever you take a pet in, or if you're living on a farm and the vet comes to the farm to look at the animals, just ask the vet and he or she will be quite happy to shadow you.
Melissa has an interesting question about, can I specialize in forensic veterinary pathology? If yes, can you please tell us a bit more about forensic veterinary pathology?
At the moment, there's no specialist degree in forensic veterinary pathology, but there is a specialist degree in veterinary pathology. And from that, you can then continue to explore into the forensic side later on. But you obviously have to look at opportunities in the market to see what is available. But these are fantastic options and opportunities, and that is one of the things that makes veterinary science and veterinary nursing, both our programs, so nice, is when you qualify, there's a whole new world that opens to you of things that you could explore and that you could go and learn further about and become specialized in at a later stage in your career. So most veterinarians actually follow a specific track after qualification and they become more specialized in that field.
We have a question here from Amale. Can students that live on OP get to participate in sports teams and compete at the various varsity sport competitions?
Absolutely. So we actually we're very proud of our sports teams. Our residence sports teams often do very well in the residence leagues. So yes, absolutely. We've got different options available, and you can contact the students if you want to know more details about that. But we strongly encourage that. We also have a very active climbing club, for instance, that use the tall building that we have here, with 6-story building to climb. And we encourage that kind of activity on campus. As I said yesterday as well, we have a riding club as well. And we encourage students to participate in these activities because it's very good for you to relax between your studies, that you don't get too anxious while you're studying.
Remember the clubs and societies video? We did show a few clubs and societies. We have way more than that. It's basically where your interest is, there's a club for it. We have a question about Jade about the CCS here.
Okay, so that's a good question, and that topic hasn't come up yet, so I'm glad for Jade's question. So in veterinary nursing, there's no community service here at this stage, and there's no indication at this stage that government will be developing that in the near future. In the BVSC program, since 2016, all our graduates have to complete 1 year of community service after graduation before you can practice for your own gain. It's a very good system. It's called the Compulsory Community Service, or CCS system. And you are going to be then placed at a certain locality somewhere in South Africa on a lottery system. So you apply, and you first apply to which province you want to go. And once you're assigned to a province, you then apply to which specific place in that province you want to go. And then you are assigned to a specific post where you will be working for government as a CCS veterinarian for 1 year. Within that program, there's a good mentorship scheme as well. So there are people who are qualified veterinarians that will mentor you and oversee your practice to help you develop still through that year. Because now you're fresh out of vet school, everything is a little bit scary, but there's a good support system as well. That includes state veterinarians as well as private veterinarians that take part in a mentorship program.
Jocelyn asks, is it possible to specialize in everything?
Jocelyn, you know, like there are certain people in life that think they're specialists in every aspect of life. So I wouldn't say it's impossible, but it's maybe not the wisest thing to do, because you also want to have a life and you want to do other things in your life as well. So usually what happens is that you specialize in a specific discipline. And that might be something like internal medicine or small animal medicine or equine surgery, or in production animals you might be specializing in herd health, for instance. So there are different disciplines. And then often what happens after that is in your career you become more specialized in one area, just because of the type of practice that you do. But in terms of your recognition as a specialist in South Africa with the South African Veterinary Council, it will be your first line of specialization. That will be your recognized specialty.
Kayla asks, what qualifications can one get after the Bachelor of Vet Nursing program? For instance, a master's or honors degree? Honors.
Okay, great question. Who was that? Kayla?
Kayla van der Kolf.
Okay, Kayla, that's a good question. So this is the reason why we changed from a 2-year diploma to a 3-year degree course, which we took the first students in 2019, and this year in 2021 we have our first final year class in the new 3-year program. And this is now because it gives you options to continue your study, which previously did not exist. So the first degree that you can do after the BVet nursing is a postgraduate diploma. That's a 1-year program that is offered by the faculty, and that then gives you some further studies. Once you've completed the postgrad diploma, you can then enter an MSc or a master's program. And once you've completed the master's program, you can even go to a PhD level if you want to continue that far. In the BVSC program, if you want to continue your studies, you can also do a postgraduate diploma, or you can directly enter an MSc program or an MEd-Vet program. And after that, you can also do a PhD.
Christopher asks, are you able to choose more than one elective in your final year?
Christopher, no, you can choose one elective in the final year. So, sorry about that, Leonie, there's only one. So you get 5 choices. There are 5 different elective areas. I've mentioned 2 of them already. The one was small animal and exotic practice, and the other was rural veterinary practice and wildlife. Then we also have equine practice, and we also have intensive animal production. It's one that we mentioned a few times already. And then we also have state veterinary practice and veterinary public health. So those are the 5 electives that you can take. And the electives were designed in terms of your career of choice, so where you think you're going to end up in practice one day. And that will then give you a little bit more confidence in that area. So it's not going to give you any specialization, but it's just going to give you a little bit more confidence entering that field of practice that you have a little bit more exposure before.
If you would like to take another elective, what do you do? If you want to specialize in another animal, for example, if you want to do production and horses,
You have to choose one.
can't you come back?
You can come back for postgraduate studies, yes, but not for the undergraduate. Once you've qualified, I promise you, you wouldn't want to come back. You would want to go and practice, because now you're going to be a young veterinarian full of excitement and wanting to change the world, which is what we like our students to do, and you will start to practice. But then you can come back for postgraduate studies. So let's say you decided as a student that you want to do an elective in horses, so the equine practice elective. And after you qualified, you decide it's no longer for me. I now want to do intensive animal production or something else. Then you simply come back for a postgraduate program and you can then redirect.
Easy. Janri asks, can I switch from B-Vet nurse to BVSC?
Okay, Janri, that's an important question. And the answer is no, you can't. Because we want students who choose the B-Vet nurse program to be dedicated to that career option, not to use it as a stepping stone into the BVSC program. The reason for this is that there's a requirement in South Africa for veterinary nurses, and we are the only facility that trains veterinary nurses in the country. And we therefore have a responsibility to make sure that our students who graduate, our graduates, will enter that field of practice and will be productive and contribute to the economy of the country in that field, rather than just diverting to veterinary science. So if you have in mind to be a veterinarian, but you want to take a second choice, then you take a BSc program. That is the correct route into the BVSC program if your first application is not successful.
Jade has a question again. What kind of vet is most needed in South Africa or the world?
Jane, that's a fantastic question, and it depends where you are in the world, but there's a great need at the moment to look at food security and also at food safety. Those are the big buzzwords at the moment. So we really need veterinarians that are working in intensive animal production and rural veterinary practice that contribute to the food economy of the country. And then also in veterinary public health that contribute to food safety. So those aspects are really important for us going forward. And with the world population, as you know, expanding or growing year by year, veterinarians play an extremely important role to make sure that we as people on Earth are able to produce enough food for ourselves.
Sure.
And that's why these fields are really becoming important in future. And our faculty is focusing on that as well to make sure that we deliver the correct type of veterinarians and enough veterinarians that can serve the country in these fields.
Here's a few questions about what is a good average to have at the end of grade 11?
Yes, and that's a difficult question to answer because it differs a little bit from year to year. In the open category, which is explained in the brochure, which is the most competitive category as well, we do see that the scores are really high in terms of mathematics in particular because we weigh that the heaviest, but also English and science. And the scores are usually well above 80%. So just to give a rough indication, but we can't really make any promises or give any clear guidance because it differs a little bit from year to year depending on the applicants.
Does it help if you have a parent that is a vet?
If you have a parent who's a veterinarian, it helps you in terms of the value-added form. So you obviously have more access to practice and you know much more about what it means to be a veterinarian. So we really value that because we know that you understand exactly what it takes. You've seen your parent coming home late at night after a long day working in a difficult situation and you know what it takes to be a veterinary professional. Within the value-added form, there's no specific category that will score you higher because that would be unfair to somebody whose parent is not a veterinarian and there's nothing you can do about it. You can't make your parent become a veterinarian just so that you can become one. So we don't score you higher, but it does make it possible for you, obviously, to see practice. And many of the vet's kids were practically born in the practice, and they know exactly what it takes.
Okay, this will be the last question. This is from Yasmin. If you shadowed under a vet, can you still be considered for vet nurse or zoology?
Okay, so if you shadowed under a veterinarian, yes, you can be considered, but it's not going to contribute to your value-added form for veterinary nursing.
Okay.
So Yasmin, that's a very important question. Because we want you, if you apply for veterinary nursing or for veterinary science, to know something about that profession. And therefore we look at your application for the value-added form under the veterinary nursing category, if we consider you for nursing. In the case of BSc Zoology, they don't have a value-added form, so they only look at your scores at school, and you don't need that for your application. So to make that very clear, for veterinary nursing, you have to shadow a veterinary nurse. We want you to know what it takes to be a veterinary nurse, not a veterinarian, because it's not the same profession. And we want you to have that exposure before you come to us, so that you understand what it means to be a veterinary nurse. And the other way around is also true. If you are applying to be a veterinarian, you have to shadow a veterinary professional, a veterinarian in other words, and not anybody else. Even if you get a similar kind of exposure, we want you to shadow a veterinarian so that you understand exactly what the vet's role is in that practice environment.
Thank you so much, Prof. Is there anything else you would like to add from today?
I think the questions were fantastic, and thanks for the participation from everybody around the country. It's so wonderful to have you all here. We've had such a wide range of questions that I think we've actually covered everything. I wanted to say something about CCS, for instance, but somebody did ask the question. So now I'm happy that we've covered everything.
The brochure is in the link, the email that you got with the link. There is a separate link that goes
to the brochure, yes.
With everything in it. If your questions wasn't answered about that, it's because everything as listed from the APS score is in that brochure. You can also visit our website for information about submitting the value-added form. You can have as many experience in that value-added form as you like. It's not just one page.
Yes, absolutely.
You can add
you can
more
upload
pages.
a lot. Yes.
So at the end, we did say we have 5 200 vouchers, and we will get into contact with the 5 people. There is still other prizes up for grabs, and you will be notified about it through email, or we will call you. So keep that in mind as well. And lastly, we would really like to thank you about this weekend for joining us. Really, actually, we did enjoy it. We had a lot of fun. It was trial and error for us as well. And then a special shout out to Madeleine and Enray from Apple Blossom for the videos from the Skills Lab Anatomy Hall and the animals. And then Louis Klute, who was this.
Our production team.
Yes. You should see the behind the scenes. It's very professional. It's very nice to do. So the 5 winners of the vouchers are the Nay van die Kerk, Sebella, Sebella, Melinda. I know you gave me the other name. I will just check that name again. You said to me. And Daniel Skumbi and Makasile. Thank you guys so much. We really did enjoy it, and your questions, we really love them. And the photos, if you have photos where you practice or anything, please still submit it, because you can actually get a prize in the next 2 weeks. Because we know that you don't have a sheep and okay, I don't know where you live, but if you don't have a sheep and you maybe know somewhere we can go and practice it, we really like to show the photos and videos on our Facebook or Instagram. Thank you.
Wonderful. And remember our sponsors, Hills Pet Nutrition and Junior Tikkie. And if you're not a member of Junior Tikkie yet, become a member now.
Bye.